plus, it is beyond 1,000, right? And many of the times, if prepaid users are there, they see that every next day you are automatically activated some plan, or maybe some SMS service, but you don't get that service, but still amount is deducted from your account. So what mechanism is there in NTP, or what mechanism this TRI going to use for this? Definitely.
Yeah,
it will be great if Mr. Rajan gives the answer.
Yeah, he's asking you to.
Yeah, I mean, the industry is represented here, and they should, I think they would have more precise answers than a consultant like me. You know.
And again, I'll ask others to chime in. But first of all, I think it's a valid concern. I don't think this is something that we can shy away from as an industry. And so we are aware of it, and we are going to address it, and we are addressing it. So let me address the two phases of it. One is the data side of it, and one is obviously the VAS side of it, right? Because those are the two issues. On the data side of it, real-time metering is a real problem, right? That's the problem. I mean, because we don't know before you download a file or you upload a file how many megabits of data you're going to use, and so therefore it's obviously going to be after the fact. So we have to now determine some real-time interventions which allow us to meter in real time, just as you do on the voice side, so that after a minute's worth of usage, we all are used to calibrating on minutes. We are not used to calibrating on megabits per second or some such thing. So that's a hard thing. And I think the industry is working, and I'll ask the industry experts to chime in on this, as to what we're doing in terms of ensuring that real-time metering can be put in place, so that before you download a file or you upload a file, you'll get to know, hey, it's going to cost you X. Do you want to go ahead and do it? So I think that's clearly one of the areas that we're working on, we recognize is an issue, and we will want to address. Let me address the VAS side of the equation. That has come through and has been addressed in a TRAI regulation on consumer protection. So the industry has recognized this, has addressed it, and already we are seeing significant reductions in terms of the complaints that we're receiving vis-a-vis these things that have happened. One particular thing which is quite the context of complaints we received was what we call negative charging. So somebody had a low balance or a zero balance, and as soon as you topped up, a previous VAS service would come through and you'd be reduced down to zero. So we have stopped negative balancing. So the moment you have a zero balance or inadequate funds and a VAS service is going to be applied, we will not apply it until we get some confirmation from you. We're also strengthening the issue of making sure that the consumer tells us that he or she has in fact acknowledged that this has been an outsourced function. So VAS service providers were doing that. They were not always accurate in sending us the information. So we were not completely sure what the consumer interaction was. All of our operators, principally most of them, have now taken that function in-house. So the acknowledgement from you, i.e. *9 or whatever, is going to come to us directly as opposed to the outsourced vendor. So we have greater control, and we hope that that will begin to address some of these concerns. We've already seen a tremendous decline in the number of complaints. Hopefully you've seen it, and we recognize this as an issue, and we will continue to address it.
So, quick from Mr. Rao and Mr. Dalal. Yeah.
I would like to simplify it further. You have got a voice, data, and VAS tariff plan. It is like from operator A to operator A, operator B to operator B in the same circle. Then you go on roaming. Okay, then it's not that simple. It is very complex. So whatever the amount which is deducted per se is actual deduction, right? The customers are intelligent. They know this complex matrix, right? So to avoid this kind of so-called inconvenience to the customers, the industry had requested for a unified license regime in the NTP 2012, which we are hopeful that the government should agree. And the rest, Mr. Rajan Matthews has already addressed. Even after the unified licensing regime, you face these problems. This is how it will be addressed. Right?
Thank you very much, sir.
I think basically this goes back to the issue that I talked about, the scalability. So when you have the data download and you are not getting the what you wanted, there's something called oversubscription ratio. TRAI as a regulator has already specified what should be that oversubscription ratio. So we as operators, as much as possible, stick to that and then try to deliver the service to you. Again, when you do the GPRS, any data services on a 2G or even 3G, which is a spectrum constrained service that we are offering, you always get into the problem. Other day, I came across where we sold the 3G service in one cell site area for 20 subscribers at 2 Mbps. But then the package was 2 Gbps, as you were saying. But within 1 week, we noticed that the guy has downloaded so much of video movies, and the speed had to be brought down to 64 kilobits. But because he has already consumed his 2 GB. So the consumer complained. Then when we looked into it, we found out he has already crossed the limit of 2 Gbps, 2 gigabytes per month. So automatically the network has to bring it down to 64K. So obviously at that point you will feel, hey, look, I am being cheated. You are not cheated. You have to be given the feedback. That's all it is.
Fair
Okay?
usage policy, I know.
Thank you, ladies and
Okay, thank you very
gentlemen.
much.
So thank you, Mr. Matthew, Mr. Dalal.